Okay, this is going to be your Q&A test number one at 120 words a minute. Proper names are Cortana Mall, and Mr. Clark. All right, the accident that happened on August 4, tell me how that accident occurred. What do you remember?
We were headed towards the mall on the service road. It was raining, and the car that was coming toward us, I saw her come over in our lane. I came to a dead stop, and that's when she hit us.
When you say you were going to the mall, what mall were you going to?
Cortana.
Which entrance were you going to? What main store would you have been closest to at Cortana Mall?
I was a good ways from the mall at that point.
You were attempting to go straight or you were attempting to make a turn when the accident happened.
I was in a curve.
So you weren't completely completing a turn when the accident happened. You were just staying straight in your lane. Is that correct?
I wasn't in the curve, no. She came over in my lane.
I'm going to ask you a lot of questions. For some reason, in this file, I don't think I've ever seen the accident report. It sounds like you were traveling west and was the other car coming out of the curve prior to the accident.
No, when she was in our lane, she was coming into the curve. She lost it before she was in the curve.
And just crossed the center line and hit you on the left front side of your car. Is that correct? The vehicle that you were driving.
It was a truck, yes.
When is the first time you saw the other vehicle, if you can remember, the first time it caught your attention?
When she was attempting to come through the curve to the curve. It's clear there. There is nothing blocking vision.
When you saw her for the first time, was that vehicle in its traveling lane or it had already crossed the center line?
She had already crossed.
How far away do you think you were from that vehicle the first time you saw it?
Maybe 1,000 feet, maybe. I'm not good with distance.
Okay, you've given it to me in terms of distance. How about in terms of time? How much time passed from the point that you saw that vehicle for the first time? And if you don't know, you don't know. It's fine. It's not a test.
I don't know.
Do you think it was more or less than 5 seconds from the time you first saw that vehicle until the time the accident happened?
I don't know.
Could it have been more than 5 seconds?
Maybe. You only have a split second to make a decision.
In your mind, is there anything that you could have done to avoid the accident?
No,
Did you have time to try and do anything to avoid the accident?
no. There's a road that goes off to another highway, so there's nowhere to go.
I'm going to show you the little diagram that's on the accident report, and it appears that this is the other vehicle and this is your vehicle. Does this appear to be a fair representation of the lay of the land and the way the streets are laid out and a good overall description of how the accidents happened?
Yes, it looks right, I think.
So that would give me a pretty good idea of what the scene looks like if I were looking at it from above.
Yes.
The other vehicle was driven by a Mr. Clark. Did you know the other driver before? Okay, this is going to be your Q&A test number 2 at 120 words a minute. Proper names: Alberta Slack, Mrs. Slack, Airport Road, Mr. Slack, Bill Johnson, Mr. Johnson, Dalton, Jackson's, Main Street, First, and Court. Would you state your name, please?
My name is Alberta Slack.
Mrs. Slack, I am going to ask you a series of questions. And if at any time you do not understand me or want me to make myself clear, you just say so.
Yes, sir.
Because I want to move as quickly as we can. What is your age, please?
I am 36.
And where do you live?
1405 Airport Road.
Have you lived there for the last several years?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been married?
Let's see. About 18 years.
Is Mr. Slack your first husband, or had you been married before?
Second husband.
Who was your first husband?
Bill Johnson.
How long were you and Mr. Slack married?
I don't know.
You don't remember?
No, sir.
Now, your first husband, Mr. Johnson, did he die or was there a divorce?
He and I were divorced.
Was that divorce obtained in this country?
Yes, it was.
Is Mr. Johnson still living around here, or do you know?
I don't know. I haven't seen him.
Are all the children that you have now the ones your daughter spoke of? Are they all Mr. Slack's children?
Yes, they are.
And are they all living at home with you?
They are all with me at home.
How many people live there at your home?
Well, I have all my children, and I have a brother staying there with me.
How many children do you have?
I have 5 girls and 1 boy.
And you have your brother staying there with you.
My half-brother stays there once in a while.
Are you employed, or do you just stay there at home?
I stay at home now.
Is your husband employed?
Yes, he works.
Where does he work?
He works at the carpet mill in Dalton.
You say you are not working now?
I was working until my daughter started getting sick.
You were working then at the time of this accident.
I was working at Jackson's at the time the accident happened.
What kind of company is Jackson's?
It's a chair company.
How much was your average weekly wage?
I was earning $1.70 an hour.
Now, you say you quit that job when your daughter became sick. Is that right?
No. I quit that job and went to work at the carpet mill with my husband.
You went to work for the same company as your husband did?
Yes, sir. He got a job down there, and I went to work there too.
Then that is where you left when your daughter got sick after the accident. Is that right?
I just quit 3 weeks ago. I had to put my daughter back in the hospital.
Why did you have to put your daughter back in the hospital?
Because she had pneumonia.
Is her illness related to this accident?
Well, it sure didn't help her any.
So you are saying she got pneumonia because of this accident?
Not exactly. She had problems with her lungs before, but she got worse after the accident.
Let's talk about the accident now. When did the accident occur?
On September 12, 2010,
And where did the accident occur?
at the intersection of Main Street and First.
Please tell the court and jury what you remember about how the accident occurred.
Well, we had stopped at the light.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but when you say we, who are you talking about?
My daughter and I.
So you and your daughter were in the car together. Where?
Go ahead.
Okay. So this is going to be your Q&A test number 1 at 100 words a minute. We have Mr. Willie Parnell, F, G, and H, and Jeffries. Well, I thought we was leaving to take me back to the house. But he wasn't?
Just drove across the street.
And then how long was he gone for? Do you know?
No, I don't.
Do you have any clue at all? Was it an hour? Half an hour? 10 minutes?
Don't really know. I was asleep.
And you said you reclined the back seat.
No, I was in the front seat.
Or you reclined the front seat, passenger's seat.
Back.
You reclined it back, right?
Yes.
Okay. And at some point in time, you stated you saw a guy come knocking on your window.
Well, he woke me, tapped on the window.
Where did he tap on the window?
Where? On the window.
I mean, where on the car? Was it the back, the front?
Well, it's the front window where I was sitting.
Like just to the side of you?
Yeah.
And had you ever seen him in your entire life?
No.
Never seen him.
No.
So you did not recognize him?
No.
And at this point in time, you were kind of reclined in the back seat, right?
Yes.
Or in the front seat, but it was reclined back, right?
Yes.
And this person that tapped on your window, was that the same person that has testified, Mr. Willie Parnell?
No.
It was not.
No.
Okay. So you're positive the person that's in E, G, and H, and the person that you saw walk up here and stated that he wasn't going to testify, and the person who identified you at the prelim, the person who tapped on your window, they are not the same people.
No. I don't think it was the same person.
So, was that the only time you had ever seen that person?
Which person?
The person who tapped on your window.
Yeah, for a brief moment.
Pardon?
For a brief moment. Yeah.
And have you ever seen him again?
No.
Let me ask you a question. How tall are you?
Excuse me?
How tall are you?
How tall am I?
Yes.
5'11", maybe 6 feet.
How much do you weigh?
About 215.
And yet you had never seen Mr. Willie Parnell previous to when he identified you at the preliminary hearing.
No.
So he was a stranger to you.
At the preliminary, yes.
The person who tapped on your window, can you give us any more information about him
No, not really.
other than he was black?
Yes, he was black.
You don't remember what he was wearing
No.
and probably don't remember how his hairstyle was, right?
No.
You don't remember how tall he was, how much he weighed, nothing like that.
No.
And you stated that he asked you to hold something for him.
No. No, I didn't say that.
Okay, maybe I misunderstood what you said. So can you please clarify again?
Just tapped on the window. I didn't even open the window. But he mentioned Jeffries.
Okay. And this will be your Q&A test number 2 at 100 words a minute.
It continues.
Proper names are Jeffries, Peoples 1, Jeffrey Love, and Mr. Love. He mentioned Jeffrey's name.
Yes.
Was he a big guy or a little guy? Medium guy?
It's hard to say. I was reclined back. When I sat up, I didn't really pay him that much attention.
So you just don't know what kind of build he was.
I really didn't pay that much attention to it.
And did he give you a bag, you're saying?
Yes.
And is that the same bag that is in People's 1? Is that the same bag?
It's really hard to say. It's been so long, I can't tell if it's the same bag or not.
Do you want me to move the picture closer to you? Would that help you?
It could. I mean, it's just been a while. It could be the same bag. I don't really know if it is.
Would it help you if you looked at the picture closer?
Maybe. I'm not sure. It's been a while.
You can take your time. Look at the bag right there. Is that the bag that the gentleman gave you?
Kind of looks like it.
And it looks like it is right behind the driver's seat, right? Is that where you put the bag?
Basically, I just put it in the back.
You just threw it in the back?
Yeah, because my seat was reclined. So went to that side.
All right. What exactly happened when this person gave you the bag? What exactly happened when they came and tapped on the window? They mentioned Jeffrey Love.
Yeah, they said, hold this in the car. He'll be right back. And he walked off and went to the right, went down the alleyway.
Did he walk towards the hotel or away from the hotel?
Away from the hotel.
And then you complied and you decided you just threw the bag in the back, right?
Yes.
Did you see whether or not this guy had a gun?
No, I didn't. Didn't notice.
And then how long did you wait before Mr. Love came back?
Don't really know. I laid back and rested and nodded back off to sleep.
And this was approximately 8 in the morning, right?
I think it's later than that.
When was it?
I don't know. It was around 9:30, 10 something. I don't know. I'm not really sure.
So, from the time that the gentleman handed you the bag, told you to hold it for Jeffrey Love, to the time that Mr. Love came back, you had already fallen asleep.
Yeah,
Did it seem like a pretty long time then?
really hard to say. I just nodded off.
Well, was it like a half an hour before he came back when you got the bag?
I don't really know. I don't know how long it was, to be honest.
Now, you seem to me to be bigger than a Mr. Love. Am I right?
Yeah, a little larger.
Okay. You hung out with Mr. Love enough to know that he's